Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Women Veterans Alliance Unconference Speaker Webinar Series. My name is Melissa Washington. I am the CEO and founder of Women Veterans Alliance, and so happy that you are here today. We have a great presentation lined up for you. One of the things, too, if you're not following us on social media, is to please follow us on social media. We're on all the different social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, and also YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, we do have our YouTube channel. Currently, this webinar is being recorded, and you can go to our YouTube channel where this will be there, as well as our other previous webinars will be available on YouTube for you to watch anytime, and feel free to share on YouTube, and of course subscribe to our channel as well. If we could advance to the next slide, that would be fantastic. We'll just go to the next one. And so if you're not aware, we had to, unfortunately, with the pandemic, postpone our annual unconference, which was to be held next month in Las Vegas. So with that, we're bringing all the speakers directly to you. We started last month, and we are in the middle of this month. And as you can see here, we have our speaker today, as well as 3 more speakers lined up for the rest of the month. So go to our womenveteransalliance.org/webinars to sign up for our additional webinars. And as you can see, the next 3 weeks. But without further ado, I want to get it over to our speaker, Linda, who's going to tell you more about herself. But I did just want to read a quick little snippet of her bio. And it says, about Linda: an incredible leader who speaks from the heart. Linda will engage, inspire, and inform you on the mindset and methods they need to become extraordinary leaders, influencers, and change makers. Linda skillfully blends her vast professional experience in the military and corporate arenas with funny personal stories that captivate as well as educate. Linda, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Melissa. This is a real pleasure to be here and with our whole audience. So let's get started. Today we're talking about today's leadership skills for tomorrow's world, busting myths about what leadership actually looks like. Leadership is the most maligned word in the English language. I can tell you that there are thousands of leaders out there who would not claim the title if it was the last day on earth. They don't want to be that leader, and so they won't step into leadership. So what we're doing today is analyzing why the current models of leadership are ineffective and why confluential leadership, which you'll hear more about as we move on, meets today's needs. I also want to create a new leadership role from tapping into your own natural gifts and strengths. Let's identify 3 leadership skills that the world needs now and learn the true qualities of embodied leadership and how you get them. You'll be able to walk away today with being able to redefine your particular leadership style that will open up some creative possibilities that will carry you through this pandemic. Mindset and skill set to lead your virtual teams to thrive in these challenging times, and the ability to communicate to your team, your constituents, and your partners from a practical yet compassionate place that will have them following your lead. So are you ready? I've been a leader for over 45 years, and I can tell you that my career began in the military. As you might notice, I am a member of the Women Veterans Alliance, and I am a business owner as well, and I'm proud of both. I learned my leadership the hard way, through trial and error, truly boots on the ground. I am not an academic leader. I have been in the trenches. I know what it's like. I know the goods, the bads, and the uglies about leadership. And I'm going to share with you the most common leadership styles, their advantages and their disadvantages. and the easiest way to get value of both without the challenges, because you really do want to avoid the ugly of leadership, don't you? The most popular style of leadership currently is command. This is what I first learned in the military, and I'm sure those of you who come out of the military background know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the masculine style of leadership. You're very decisive and powerful, intelligent, direct and focused, and it's perfectly suited to emergency situations. Take a firefighter, for example. You're on the 37th floor, there's a fire above you, and you want to get these people out of the building before it reaches your floor. So you say to the group of people, okay, we're going to the left. We're going to take that staircase. I know it's not a wind funnel. I know the fire's not there. We can get down quickly, easily, effortlessly, and everyone will be safe. Well, over on the left-hand side, you've got 6 other people who are sort of looking at you going, but I like this staircase. Couldn't we go down this staircase? I mean, it's cleaner. I know that. But you also know, as the firefighter, that it's a wind tunnel and that the fire is running through that particular staircase. You don't want the people in that room arguing with you. You want them to just basically do what you tell them to do so that you can save more people and there's no questions. In the military, I personally had to be heard across a parade field. I was an adjutant. So imagine this, you're on this beautiful grassy field. There are 3 battalions with 5 companies each, with 30 women per company. That's 1,800 people, not including permanent cadre. At a minimum, they had to hear my voice and they had to respond in the moment. No room for error on either side. These troops had to turn, march, whatever the command was, in sync, everyone going at the same time. I learned when there was a command given, you acted. There was no room for questions, discussion, or even saying no. You simply acted. Now, I have to admit that SWAT teams and other emergency individuals are doing a planning session before they go out in the field. But once they've got the plan in place, they know what their moves are, they know what their commands are, and there's no question. They just do it. So what happens if you're in a non-emergency situation? Then you can be perceived as authoritative, competitive, dominant, arrogant, and stubborn. But why? You need to be assertive and get things done in business, don't you? As a general in the battlefield, you see clearly where you're going and know the best way to get there. Your team's perception may not match your vision. There are 3 basic command challenges: telling everyone what to do, relying on outdated strategies that don't work, and shutting down people and their ideas. So let's look at the first one. I'm sure at one time or another you've had a boss that's like this. He or she knows everything about every job that's done in the office, probably because she came up through the ranks, and loves to tell you exactly what to do. Does not want any questions, does not even want to find out whether you understand what needs to be done, but basically gives you the order and sends you on your way. How do you feel as someone who's sitting under this particular individual's command? The second challenging perception is about relying on outdated strategies that really just don't work. Have you ever had that boss that sticks to the tried and true strategy, no matter what? We've always done it this way. I've been with this company for 40 years. It's always been this way. Why would I want to do it any differently? Well, it's important today that you are agile and that you are able to pivot on a dime, because the world is changing faster than we can imagine. What would your company look like if this was the leader of your company? The third challenge is shutting down people and their ideas. You have new employees who are eager to test out new ideas and new concepts and new products. But this leadership style says, not in this company. We do it this way. The reality is a lack of innovation can be the death of an organization, not to mention the agonizing, slow crawl into the grave. Is this your company? Are the individuals running to the hills, or just to a company that nurtures them and listens to their ideas and implements them? Are you spending your time herding cats and not getting the results that you want? And believe me, I know about herding cats. I've worked in nonprofits and with network marketing companies, and it's truly like herding cats. If you ask yourself, why are they doing this? Take a look at your leadership style. There really is a better way. Y'all remember Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? This is a metaphor for leadership. Remember that the first bed that Goldilocks tried belonged to Papa Bear. Now remember that he's the master of his home, and command is how he leads his family. No one in the family directly contradicts him. He ruled with a direct and decisive attitude. For Goldilocks, when she tried to sleep in his bed, she found it to be too hard, and she couldn't get comfortable. Do you ever feel that way either when you get into command mode or you have command directed to you? And how does it feel? So I wondered, there had to be another way to lead if command was not truly the one that was always successful. So I tried a different one. I tried influence, which is softer. But I found this for me to be very difficult and drifted back to command at every opportunity that I could. I was much happier in my head than I was in my heart. And the skills are very different when you lead from your heart than when you lead from your head. When I moved to my heart and I asked people what needed to be done, I needed to be inclusive, flexible, have community, be courageous, creative, and passionate. What I found, though, was oftentimes people saw me as passive, agreeable, permissive, eccentric, and emotional. And this is what I wanted to be or how I wanted to lead. The 3 influence challenge revolve around trying to be everyone's friend, bringing on members and employees who are just like you, and waiting for everyone to agree before you make a decision. These challenges are also the perceptions your team might have based on their interpretation of your actions. So try to imagine these challenges from their perspective. All right, ready, let's go. Trying to be everyone's friend, going from being a commanding boss to being your best friend to every employee can be a real jarring situation for your employees. I've had a boss who was overly intimate, and I don't mean that in a sexual harassment kind of way, but in a way of, I'm your boss, but let's talk like we're friends. Let's get to know each other really, really, really well. Well, perhaps there's things I don't want to share, and I know there's stuff that I don't want to hear about you. So it's an attempt to build a relationship, but the boundaries between work and life begin to blur. And it makes it very, very difficult, confusing, as you begin to wonder, who is this person? Are they my boss or are they my friend? You can't be both. Especially if you have a challenge with a member of your team and you need to have one of those difficult conversations. I can tell you it's uncomfortable for everyone, and it doesn't make it easy to discipline members. Now, it is important to connect with your team members and to know what inspires them, but make sure that you maintain those healthy boundaries in the process. The third influence challenge is about hiring people who are just like you. This is one of my favorites because I did it a lot. When I first started my own business, I had an organization chart for my company, and my picture was in every box. And yes, it was a different picture in every box as well. Then I started hiring people, but I hired people I was comfortable with. I didn't realize till it was too late that I was comfortable with them because they were just like me and they could do the job that I could do. Then I started hiring, then I realized that I needed to spread out the workload, and we fought over who would be doing each piece of the work, because I wanted to do some as well, because it was things that I really liked to do. It wasn't pretty, and I have to say that my team ran screaming into the night and were leaving the work so that all of it, I had to do all of it. So when you start hiring, make sure to look for people with skills you don't have, because it will make your company a much better place and a place where you and everyone else enjoys working. The third challenge is around waiting for everyone to agree before making a decision. This challenge is subtle and it's insidious. It's important to consider your team members when making a decision that might affect them. It's useful to check in with a few of them for a different perspective, but don't let this process hang you up. You need to make a decision and you need to move on. Remember, you need to let the decision happen organically, and once you've incorporated their thoughts, then create a decision that works for the team as a whole and for your customers. The second bed that Goldilocks checked out was Mama Bear's. She's the nurturer of the family. She decorated the home, she made exceptional meals, raised the baby bears, connected with other bears in the neighborhood, arranged and led neighborhood events. She could influence any bear to do what she wanted and needed. No one in the family could resist her gentle but firm requests. Her use of the question, "just curious," always encouraged other bears to think about whatever was the subject. You always felt included when Mama Bear was in charge. She ruled with a collaborative and compassionate manner. For Goldilocks, when she tried to sleep in her bed, found that Mama Bear's bed was too soft, and she felt smothered in the covers and the mattress. Do you ever feel that way, either when you're using your emotions to lead a team or when you have a very nurturing leader? How does it feel? Ultimately, my challenge with influence left me exhausted, behind schedule, and screaming, "Why isn't anything getting done? Why won't they listen to me?" And I'd had it. I was done with command and done with influence. Neither one seemed to work for me, but I was committed to find the answer to this leadership struggle. So what can you do to avoid these leadership challenges? I found the answer in a way to marry the masculine and feminine traits of leadership, bringing their strengths together without their inherent challenges. Thus, Confluential Leadership was born. I was conducting a one-day Awaken the Leader workshop, and my team and I were niggling about this and trying to figure out what could we call this blending of the masculine and feminine. And we came up with all sorts of interesting words, but the one that struck me was when we got to confluence. We were talking about the confluence of rivers and how they come together. I said, no, it's confluence. It's the first three letters of command and the last letters of influence. It brings together the decisiveness, the power, the intelligence, the direction, and the focus of command, with the inclusion, flexibility, community, creativity, and passion of influence. So you can unlock the full potential of your team through your leadership. So I'm going to share you 3 not so secret secrets that I've discovered with Confluential Leadership. 3 actions that you can take right now to transform your leadership and productivity of your team. Sounds good? Okay, the first secret, be curious and ask questions. When you ask questions, you build and deepen relationships and you get to know your team's point of view. A great way of beginning a conversation with your team is by starting with my favorite question, just curious. Engaging your team will allow you to get to know your team, their visions, ideas, and motivations. Then you can encourage their creativity, which will likely lead to innovations in your business that will truly surprise you. I know my team was blown away when I kept asking the question, just curious, what do you think we could do here? And they kept coming up with greater and better ideas until we finally implemented something that was absolutely brand new and turned my company around. Secret number 2, seek to understand strengths of your company members. This is a great way to get to know your team, what they love working on, and more importantly, what they can't stand working on. This will let you know who to delegate which tasks to. I mean, wouldn't you prefer to be assigned a task that you really love to do? Aren't you likely to get it done better, faster than someone who doesn't want to have anything to do with it? Plus, getting to know the strengths of your team members will give you some insights into their stories. So you know what's going on in their lives and can provide the right level of support. I have to tell you, long ago and far away, I was a dictation specialist, and the dictation came into a pool and we were allowed to pick up whatever came in and do it. And I was done for the day and I had about an hour left. I went to all of my colleagues and I said, do you need help? What can I do for you? And they all said, no, we're on track to finish in the next 15, 20 minutes. Go ahead, go home. So I went to my boss and I said, I'd love to go home. Is there any problem? I've checked with everybody. Everybody seems to be fine. And she said, great, I'd love that. But before, would you mind going into the kitchen and cleaning out the refrigerator? What she didn't tell me was the refrigerator hadn't been cleaned for 3 months. There wasn't just mold, but there were little critters growing in the refrigerator. Do you think that I ever finished early again? She definitely didn't understand my strengths, and she didn't understand that I was actually quite quick, agile, and could turn on a dime. And now I was just doing my job. All right, secret number 3, hiring people who complement you. You need people with different skill sets to fulfill the business vision, don't you? When you hire experts with varying skill sets, you decrease the time and the cost of training them, and you decrease job conflict between you and your team members because everyone knows their role and they're an expert at it. Plus, you'll naturally improve your productivity with individuals who can do the job effortlessly and successfully. Clearly defining the roles you need to fill and then hiring based on the best fit for the job can make your organization sing. When I finally got how important this really was, my whole world changed, and I had a company that could, again, be agile, move on a dime, and we could innovate, we could be successful and truly make a difference in the world. The last and final bed was the smallest and belonged to Baby Bear. Goldilocks hesitated. She'd been disappointed in her first 2 attempts to find the perfect bed for her nap after such a delicious meal. She climbed in, expelled a long sigh of contentment, and drifted off to sleep. You all know what happened next, right? So let's look at this from a dance perspective. Confluential leadership brings together the masculine command and the feminine influence, just like a beautiful dance. In this case, the couple's doing an Argentine tango, one of my favorites. The couple is in sync. The masculine command brings organization, structure, and strategy, while the feminine brings the influence, the creativity, the compassion, the emotion, the collaboration, the community that dancers need. They need the balance, the frame, the strength, so that she can be her best. And she brings the flair and the joy that he needs to relax and enjoy the experience. This is truly the most powerful and successful partnership in leadership. So why confluential? If you want to inspire your team to move forward towards their collective vision, creating results that are more in line with where you want to go, then confluential leadership will create an environment where your team is highly motivated and highly performing, which will develop a workplace with ever-increasing satisfaction and results. Confluential leadership is nothing less than a shift in the paradigm you currently have had on what leadership is for so many years. It's empowered leadership at its very best. When you marry the masculine and feminine strengths that live within you into one unique, empowered, extraordinary leader, you can't be stopped, and the world will change because of it. Remember the 3 not-so-secret secrets of highly successful leaders? They are: be curious and ask questions. Seek to understand the strengths of your team members and hire people who complement you. Key to being a successful leader is your ability to step into a more influential model when building relationships. For you to have a team that feels included and engaged, the relationship with the members needs to be deeper. Plus, you must have meaningful work that excites them about being part of your team. And you need to be open to innovations and creative ways of doing things in your business. Remember, one of my favorite questions is just curious. This works so well to engage the members of your team in the true discovery session to find out what matters to them. The care here is not to be invasive, but it's important to be aware of keeping professional boundaries. It's that the more you know about the members of your team, the more you can touch what motivates them and what has meaning for them. Know too that it is just as important for you to share with your team what you're comfortable sharing about yourself. Remember, you don't have to dig into the deep, dark secrets of your life. They just want to know enough to make you a colleague as well as the boss. It makes you real. It makes you relatable. Relationships are definitely a two-way street. And that really makes sense, doesn't it? My call to action for you today is if what I've talked about today intrigues you at all, then take this action. Connect with me either by phone at 925-954-3239 or by email at linda@daretoleadwithlinda.com for a link to an upcoming free webinar on leadership where we'll dig even deeper into this leadership model. And what I have to say is, to close is, be courageous, dare to lead. Thank you.
All right, Linda, thank you so much. So we do have time for questions. So if anyone is interested, you can type those in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself, please do so. And it is open up for questions or comments. So again, chat, do in the chat function, or unmute yourself and ask away. Linda's ready for you. I am.
I say I have two of my own people in here. Ask a question, guys.
And you have her contact information, so if you don't want to ask her now, you can always follow up with her later.
Do you want me to put that in the chat, Melissa?
That would be great, yes.
Okay. Ooh.
Great, so we'll again leave it open. So if you are watching this live, don't forget we do have some other upcoming webinars this month. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to check out our website. And I wanted to thank Linda. Thank you for your service, and also thank you for taking the time to present here today. And I see we've got that. Right, anybody else? So let's see, we've got your phone numbers there, and Linda is on the West Coast. So if anyone's on the West Coast, she is on the West Coast. I always have to make sure I tell people that, because sometimes people forget, and then I'm getting calls early in the morning.
Yes, yeah.
Well, good. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. So I'm sure, Linda, you'll probably get some questions sent directly to you, or they'll give you a call. Okay. And again, I wanted to thank you again for your time today. And we'll go ahead. And again, this will be available on YouTube. So if you wanted to check out something, or maybe missed one of her great points that she had, you can do that there as well.
Melissa, right. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to share with your community. This topic obviously means a lot to me, and I know the women coming out of the military are conflicted with the, I know command, that's what I've done. How do I change? How do I become softer and yet not give up that strength that I have, or the fact that I do work from my head oftentimes? It's how do I get in my heart?
Oh, absolutely.
And how do
I think for men too, it's good for them,
yes. Yes.
Have a little bit of that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much, and everybody have a great day.